Welcome to the market recap presented by Tackle Trading. Get in the game.
Good afternoon, Tackle Traders, and hello, YouTube. This is Frank coming to you with another market recap, this time for August 7th. We're sitting on a Tuesday. Disney reported their earnings after today's close, and shortly after, we're down about 2% following missing both earnings and revenue. So we'll see how that impacts the market, but it doesn't look like Disney set the world on fire with this earnings report. Of course, one of the few huge names left to report this earnings season. Right now, we're just taking a look at basically the rest of the week when it comes to S&P 500 companies and their earnings. Still some large names, but huge names kind of behind us right now. So, of course, stay up to date on top of that, and be sure to kind of see how the market reacts to Disney's miss as we go into tomorrow's open. Before we take a look at our broad market and our sectors, just wanted to talk a little bit about Tesla. Interesting day for this stock, as is often the case. Tesla is not for the meek. It moves. Elon Musk tweeted earlier in the day that he was thinking about going private at $420 a share. It went crazy. Buyers started stepping in. They actually halted trading on it for a little bit before resuming it before the end of the day. Pretty wild ride in the world of Tesla. So we'll have to kind of see how things go. I don't know what the real game plan is there or not, but it does sound like there was a little bit of confirmation just from what I was quickly trying to digest this afternoon that Elon Musk had sent some email to employees about potentially going private. So maybe there is something there. So I just thought that was interesting. I'm not much of a Tesla kind of guy myself. So when it does crazy things, I'm never involved, so it's kind of fun to follow. But I thought that was worth bringing up here today. Overall, another very strong day in the market as bulls remain in control. Here we are looking at the NASDAQ. We are starting to work closer and closer to this all-time high point, this resistance level. So that is obviously going to be something that we do need to keep an eye on as traders. But everything's still very much in good shape. A little bit of a doji forming on the NASDAQ today, just below resistance, as bulls are still in control, but we're getting closer. And so we're kind of starting to think, take profit. Should I wait another day before I get in if I want to get in some more? So no huge shock there, really, I don't think. Same with S&P, really working up towards that all-time high. Sold off a little bit to close the day here today, but still closing up on the day. So we're looking at resistance within the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 looming right above us. So if we see some profit taking or some indecision, I think that would make sense, being where we've been before. On the other side, if we can get through those, those will be by definition bullish breakouts, and a little bit of continuation should probably be expected. Looking at the Dow Jones, it's kind of behind the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. As far as how far away it is from its resistance level, continues to push upward as well. Nothing too crazy on the chart, just pretty much looking like it's been looking one way or another since the original breakout. It's still in control. And then on Russell, we were able to build a little bit off of yesterday's momentum when we were finally able to close back within that old trading range. We're able to close yet again within that trading range. So we're not too far away from resistance, but certainly not as close as we are on NASDAQ and S&P. When it comes to our sectors, XLB continues to trade within the same pattern, actually ran up and kissed kind of the top end of this pattern today, sold off of that as it has been known to do the last little while. It's been very responsive to the trend, both of these trend lines, really, as we continue to tighten and tighten within this trading range. So not a lot has changed there, but we certainly are seeing it play out yet again, at least on today's intraday. Had a little bit of a gap up on the open on the energy sector. Did a little bit of selling throughout the day, not a ton, but really, again, kind of very much smack dab in the middle, a little closer to the top today than we were yesterday, but really kind of stuck in the same general ballpark within this middle of this trading range in our energy sector. Our financials were able to break out today, that resistance level, and actually were able to close above that resistance as well. Much like our utilities that we saw yesterday, where it had broken resistance and closed above resistance, but kind of had that gravestone doji looking candle. I hate when you get a break and you have that run up on, early and then come selling back the rest of the day, because that's a lot of selling momentum to kind of create that, that big wick that we see on that candle. So I'll definitely be looking for, needing another day of confirmation to really trust that. But again, that is just me. But no matter what my opinion is, we did, of course, clearly close above that resistance level for those bullish traders out there. That's really not up for debate. We're able to close that. How much I trust it, that's where my opinion and my own trading rules will come into play, right? Industrials are working very, very close to resistance as well. Have not broke it just yet, but we are getting pretty darn close to yet another test of that resistance level. So keep an eye how we respond within our industrial sector to that. Of course, as NASDAQ goes, so goes the tech ETF, and no surprise, looks pretty darn similar to the overall NASDAQ, as it usually tends to do. Our staples, proving that it's not possible to always go up. Actually had a little bit of selling in the staples sector today, nothing dramatic, but as we've been following along with staples over the last couple of months, there's just not a lot of selling days, so it's always noticeable. If we do end up getting a bit of a pullback, personally, I'll be kind of keeping an eye on that 200 to potentially act as a level of support as I kind of follow along with the staples sector. That will be kind of what I'm watching for. But these guys have not been having very deep pullbacks, so it wouldn't shock me terribly if they didn't even make it that far. But we'll see where they go. Utilities, again, yesterday we closed above that resistance, but we had that gravestone doji looking candle. Zoom in on that, so we really ran up, but then drifted down by the end of the day and closed right on top of it. So a lot of selling. Today we faltered right back through that, and we're kind of back into that old trading range. Looks like that was, at least for the time being, a failed breakout on the utility sector. Kind of closed right neck and neck with that old resistance level here today. I continue to not really feel like the utilities are very easy to read right now. That's just, for me, I felt that way for a little while now, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with admitting that. I've missed out on some opportunities, but I've also missed out on things that probably wouldn't have went my way. So I can live with that. We'll live with that. Healthcare continues to be strong, although we did doji. We are getting closer to resistance. We still got a ways to go within that sector, but I don't think any of us probably expected it to go straight to resistance on this most recent break. I think if we're bullish, we probably hope it did, but hope is not the same as expect. Wouldn't be terribly surprising if we do get a little bit of a bullish retracement. Obviously, we haven't had even any sort of triggering candle just yet. Today's doji is really the first sign that maybe this is where it's going to start that pullback, but we'll have to, of course, get a little bit of confirmation. And when you're in a strong upward move, I'm never going to assume that tomorrow has to be the day it pulls back, no matter what, unless I'm looking at some major resistance or something along those lines. Discretionary is pushed into resistance as well, as you can kind of see here. So we're about to test the resistance level, coming off of a nice bounce of the 50-day moving average there in the discretionary sector. And real estate, interesting day, I think, following, we closed out last week breaking above resistance, showed some upward movement before giving way to sellers yesterday, yet still closing above the breakout point. Today we kind of dipped back down, but saw a lot of buyers come back in to close us above that breakout point. So our breakout kind of remains intact. The breakout of this most recent swing high here. Certainly be looking to see if we can get any sort of upward confirmation, but for at least today, that breakout point does seem to want to hold for us as a level of support. When it comes to our dollar, of course, we've watched our dollar run back up to the top of the trading range. Yesterday, was really close to, potentially breaking out. If you're super aggressive, you might even consider it as such. I didn't really feel that way. But just me, we did sell off with that as we continue to fight with that. Remember, breaking resistance is hard. So we'll continue to watch that price as we move into the remainder of this week. Another pretty dull day for the metals. You know, we just kind of continue this slow, methodical drift to the downside on gold and silver. So nothing really too exciting going on. They look like they pretty much look forever. It seems like, I know it's not forever, but it sure seems like it. Another strong day for natural gas, which you can kind of see here. They were able to, recently, at the end of last week, put in that strong candle, creating that higher low and, of course, breaking out. And so we're continuing that strong momentum there in the natural gas market. So that's always an interesting way to, natural gas is always interesting too. I think it's kind of a fun thing to follow along with. But the thing I think is, a lot of traders, has kind of been the thing I've heard most today, and I understand it, is how crude continues to behave at $70. Yet again, here today on the intraday, we ran up just shy of 70 on crude before giving back lots of profits and selling up. We got up to 69.83 today. Yesterday was 69.92. We continue to try to push 70, and we continue to fail. But it's, bulls are still, in pretty good control. We're making higher lows. We're even making higher lows on the intraday. You can kind of see that every single day over the last 4 trading days, we've made higher lows, even though the last few days we've really been bumping our head at that 70. So I do think it's fair to say that 70 is a fairly reasonable level of resistance for crude right now, something that we probably want to keep an eye on as we move forward. So that will definitely be something that all of us crude traders will be looking for going into the EI inventory reports. So do keep an eye on that as we move into tomorrow's reports. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that is our market wrap-up today. Pretty, dull type of day, when shenanigans in Tesla is kind of the only real excitement, that's not a bad thing. I don't mind days where the market, continues what it's been doing without a lot of news. So this is overall my kind of day. I'm all right with it, but not a whole lot of excitement. If you're someone who wants to be entertained every minute of every trading day, you probably had more fun days. But hey, we don't control the days. We control how we react to them, right? It is my pleasure. I certainly appreciate everybody's time. If you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the Tackle Trading YouTube channel and hit that bell for those notifications to be alerted anytime a new video or live stream is getting ready to go. If you enjoyed the market wrap-up, it's always helpful and appreciated if you give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much in advance. Of course, I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Happy trading, and I will see you soon.